Hey dear people, here I am. This is my creative chaos that surrounds me, and this is also my new morning routine. I don't know how that actually changed, but in the last weeks and months a lot has changed. I think some of you already know I quit my music school job, which was like my anchor to a normal life, which I don't have anymore. And I just want to report a little bit how I'm doing and also what's on my mind. So yes, I have been a musician my entire life. When I was 16, I started playing guitar. I wanted to be a musician immediately, right? I went and studied jazz guitar in Amsterdam and in Würzburg and in Paris, and I lived in Hamburg for like 10 years, making a living as a musician. And then Derek, my boyfriend, we moved to Berlin, and we wanted to start our next career here in Berlin. And then I also got pregnant. I tried to be pregnant for like 7 years, so it took a very long time. And needless to say, I think many of you are parents as well, that changed a lot. And I want to talk about my life as a musician, which is going to be kind of painful for me. My main focus through the every day is to pay the bills, right? So because I don't have a job where I get a certain amount of money at the beginning of each month. And this hasn't been like this as well when I have been working at the music school, because I didn't get a certain amount of money as well, because there were holidays in between where we didn't get paid. And so this was also always an up and down of income. Still, it was sort of a secure income, but then in the last year also, I didn't get many students anymore, and this system seemed to crackle as well, because I think there are not so many really like safe jobs for musicians anymore regarding teaching, right? And so I stopped working there, and I have my own private students. I have my online live course. I have a group lesson. I have a Patreon channel and a lot of stuff. So basically there are a lot of different things that help me get through each month, and it appears, which is very cool for me, that I'm starting to be a little bit more stable. I can pay my bills, and I can also pay more than my bills, because I have a daughter. She's 7 years old, and this is probably the most important thing for me, is that I can provide everything that she needs, right? That can be like a swim class, that can also be like a birthday party, because a birthday party, of course, costs some money as well. Not a fortune, but for me and Derek, those expenses that seem in my mind, and I know it is not like this, but it seems to me like people with a normal job don't even have to worry about those expenses. But I know also that a lot of people have to worry about the expenses also with like the inflation, and it's financially maybe not the easiest time, most easy time at the moment. So I'm happy that I can report that this is going actually upwards for me. Knock on wood. Yes, and so this is on the forefront, or this is the thing that I actually think about the most, is how to pay the bills and how to provide a life for Theresia, that she can partake in social activities like other children do, so that we sort of can keep up the appearance of being like a normal family, right? So I know this sounds strange, but I know that I might be not the sort of most normal mom. So I'm also always, if somebody asks me, my job is I say I'm a guitar player or I'm teaching music, so I don't go into details. lately I have been saying that I'm a YouTuber, which is sometimes helpful. So I'm saying I'm a musician and a YouTuber, and some people can start talking about YouTube with me, and then we have this conversation going. But most of the time when I went to the dentist, and I don't even know how we got there anymore, but that I said that I'm a musician, and then the most common question is, are you playing in a band? And then at that point, I already don't want to talk anymore because this is not how it works, right? It's if you're a musician, you're not, it's possible, but for most, it's not like this. You're not playing in a band that's famous and then all the money comes in with this one band, because to break the news, life has changed a lot for musicians. So most musicians I know make a living from very many different pots, and you know what I mean. And so I read that somewhere, and that really helped me so much. You have to invent your job yourself. And that's a lot of work, but that's also a lot of fun. And that's what I just did recently when I realized I want to quit the music school. I did build this online course, which didn't sell at all in the beginning. And my first attempt, I didn't sell one course, just to be very clear. And then also the class, the group lessons in the church that I'm giving, so not in the church, but a room nearby the church, nobody came. But not nobody came, but I have been sitting there with one student, and I felt really awful. But it's also growing slowly. I'm completely going off track here, but it doesn't matter. I just want to say that's maybe what I learned from being a guitar player. And you need so many hours to get better at something. It's also, if you're building a business, if you're doing something new, you will have to be patient. It seems I'm good at being patient. I wouldn't describe myself as patient and stubborn, but I think I am pretty patient and stubborn. So just to let stuff grow. There's never a quick solution. There's never like, oh, I'm going to do this and bam, it's going to explode immediately. Sometimes never going to grow, and sometimes it's just growing very slowly. Like my YouTube channel is growing so much, which is great, but my income from YouTube is still around €8 a month. So that's great, but I really can't do too much with it. And now I lost my train of thought. So inventing your own job is, I thought, how can money come in if I can only teach so many students a week, right? Because there's a limit to it. At least the way I want to do it, this is not supposed to sound like I'm so super cool and I'm doing it better than anyone else, but I just don't want to have, like, let's say 6 students marching in and out every day of the week in my apartment, and more or less I'm teaching the same stuff to everybody, and it's just like, a machine, like something that I do to make a living. I don't want to do it like this, and that's why I don't have so many students. Still have a lot of students, but I don't have so many students that I can't be like, I want to teach on a personal level. I want to know the person. I want to help them. I'm thinking about them. It's really important for me. So, yes, this is what I invented for myself, like this whole machine that brings in money, right? So, and it seems to work and run. It's really nice. I'm also selling my PDFs in my Shopify shop, which is also growing, but it's always those smaller amounts of money. Nothing is huge, right? But it helps me make a living, and that's the most important thing. And that's, like I said, what I'm focusing on because of my daughter and just to survive somehow, right? But then I realized that I don't play music anymore. And this is the truth. So I don't play any gigs. It's really ridiculous. I don't play any gigs. I don't get no phone calls. I'm not in a band. I have my own trio, which I can sort of reactivate, right? And then I can go and play in a club, and everybody gets 50 euros on a good night. That I can do, but I don't do it. And I realized that since everything is like only, and I think everybody or many people are like this, I'm always thinking it has to be sort of effective in a money way, and I don't want to do it anymore. But I realize I think it's an excuse. I'm just afraid. I'm just like completely afraid. Just recently, I had a student, and he was really sweet, and I like him really a lot. And he said he applied for a jazz workshop, and then he got the stuff that he has to play there, and then he freaked out and he canceled and he didn't go there, and needed also some weeks to talk to me about it, because I guess he felt like that I would be maybe upset or disappointed. But I have to say, completely understand it. I'm really, sounds really stupid. I'm really, I find my students very brave that they come to me in the lesson, because it's not always easy, and they learn stuff and then they don't know stuff, and then they have a situation where they might be ashamed or struggling, and they still keep coming back to my lessons, and I really appreciate that. I don't know the right word in English, but this is really great, But I realized that I am afraid as well. And I also realized that social media and YouTube is also sort of like a Band-Aid, if you know what I mean. It's like I get a lot of, compliments on my playing. I get a lot of comments. I get a lot of questions. I'm earning some money on it. But it's also sort of a safe space. Not really, of course, but, I'm recording this on my camera here. I can edit the fuck of it out of it, right? Like I wanted to. If I play a solo, I can use the one track that's really cool. But if I go out in the real world, I can't edit anything anymore. And apart from the fact that I'm not getting any calls, I'm also not going out. So I'm not going out at all. I'm not even going out to a concert, because, of course, concert is also expensive. A jazz session costs nothing. But I'm not going out, and this is really something that I want to change. And the negative thought spiral that keeps me from doing anything is that I already did so much. So, I did so much in regards of playing guitar my whole life, right? Also here in Berlin, I had a jazz session, I had a jazz series, I had this John Scofield project, and I can just go on citing stuff that I did. And it seems that it doesn't help me with networking and getting calls. And there are cities, and I think that this is different in Berlin, that are smaller. If you put in the work like I did, you'll get into a circle of musicians, and then you get called back, and you sort of have a snowball effect, right? Because then you get, the one knows you, and then the other one knows you, and then you get the job because they know you. And this doesn't work for me here. I got some jobs in the beginning because I went to sessions really a lot, but then sort of stopped doing this. And now my negative thought spiral is like they don't want me, which is, of course, complete bullshit. And the other negative thought spiral is like, I'm a woman, that's why I'm not getting any calls. And the thing is, there is no they don't want me, and there is nobody saying she's a woman, we won't call her, because I think there is no group of people who can even decide that, because it's so many different musicians and different groups of musicians and different styles of music, and also I have a feeling that a lot of music and musicians are not very well connected here in Berlin, and also have the feeling that there's a lot of shame around this topic, because I think a lot of people, but maybe that's not true, don't get calls or don't get connected into this city. And of course, they don't talk about it because they want to keep up appearances so that they might get a call in the future. And then on the other hand, Berlin is a city of, if you want to call it that, free jazz, or let's say more experimental forms of music. Or at least it has been that, because there's some stuff changing as well there. But that's not what I'm playing. So I can say I'm not a free player. I can play a free passage in a song, but my heart is really into like songs, and maybe standards, doesn't have to be standards, but like, you know, songs with a form and with chord changes, and maybe if you want to more like mainstream. And this is maybe not the most represented here in Berlin. I don't know. So anyways, so I thought I'm going to give up on it because it doesn't grow. And also Derek and I, we always have this discussion of moving to another city, but that's for another video. Because, of course, I still and absolutely love Berlin, right? And my daughter is growing up here, and we know so many people here, and it's really nice. So that's what I want, you know. I want to go to the supermarket and know the cashier, and I want to meet people in the street and say hello. I want Theresia to meet other kids on the playground that she can play with, and she's going to school now, and that works out very well. So that's a lot of reasons for us why we'll have to somehow make it work here. Yeah. So, yeah. And I realized I'm just focusing too much not on myself, and I'm sort of not allowing myself to be a musician, and that's on me and not on the city. I can book jobs, I can have a trio, and then of course you can imagine I have like the highest expectations if I play, regarding the program, regarding how I would play, regarding the people I would play. Also high expectations of the money, maybe not so much, but still I want to earn something, and I think I have to let go of that a little bit here. And yes, I just like don't let myself be a musician. And I think, you know, probably we all go through ups and downs in our life, right? Or I don't mean like, you know, having a shit year and then a better year. I mean like feeling really good on one day, or maybe on the same day, feeling really good about yourself, and then really feeling like shit. And I have to tell you, I have been really feeling very much like shit lately. I think it's because stuff changes. I also started doing sports, which really doesn't connect maybe so much into everything that I've been talking about. But for me, it's super important, and I started to weightlift, and what that does is that I'm feeling so much stronger and younger, and I have so much more energy, and it gives me just like the idea that I can try it one more time. Because, you know, I lived in a lot of cities and I organized a lot of stuff, and I'm just going to do it again because I sort of vanished from the surface. So the plan is to go out and play on sessions again. And I have like a really huge blockage, a really huge aversion, not an aversion, that's not true, but I'm really like blocked, sort of, not talking about that, not using this word again, but I really want to go out and play. And this is why I'm sitting here in the bed as well, because normally I would get up and I would just like work the whole day making videos and stuff, and then I would be so super depleted at 8 in the evening that I can't go anywhere anymore. So at the moment me or Derek is taking Theresia to school, and then I'm lying down again so that I have some energy left in the evening. And yeah, it's just like funny to me. I don't know if that's a thing that women would rather do, but it's easy, or maybe we're trained to look for the other person, which I really like to do, but then forgetting about ourselves, right? And I don't know what happened, you know, I always can measure it with my clothes, which is very interesting because I have those phases where I want to have, like, you know, new jeans and new sneakers and really look the part. But then, and that's what's happening at the moment, there's this moment where I have really the oldest jeans, which are not cool. They're from H&M. I have really old sneakers, and I have my oldest jacket. And then I'm like, oh, fuck, that's me. I'm a musician. It doesn't matter. And then I'm feeling it really like so much in my heart that I just, for heaven's sake, have to go out there and play, and that all those stuff, what other people think and where do they do their vacations and how do they earn their money, it really is not important. It's much more important that I might make myself happy, right, and do what I love the most, and that's playing guitar. So this is a long video. Maybe I would really love to hear from you if you're a parent and a musician as well. How do you juggle doing both jobs? And how do you network, and how do you play, and also how do you organize your life in regards to finances, if you dare to speak up. So that's it. See you around. Bye.